are quite good. Attack warning. Is it for real? Attack warning. It's for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, everybody, to the Dropped Culture Podcast. This is that podcast where we pick up that piece of pop culture you forgot about or missed, shine it up real nice, and cram it in your ear holes. I'm Dan.
I'm Brock.
And today, my friend, we are going to bring you a double feature. A first time ever Drop Culture double feature. What?
This is the Friday night. You get to the video store late and you only have you have like 2 free credits because they didn't have fucking GoldenEye whenever you went in, right? So the last 2 movies on the shelf, what are they?
Well, tonight, here's what you get. You get 2 movies from 1991. Toy Soldiers.
Starring?
Sam from Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Sean Astin.
The Addams Family, extended family reunion.
Yeah. We'll get into that. There's a ton of people in this movie.
Zeppo Coogan.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's a movie.
Toy Soldiers.
Yeah, Toy Soldiers.
Not to be confused with the other Toy Soldiers I forgot about and missed, but but this one was a great one. Now, yeah, the way I pictured this is you're going through all the movies. There's a shitload of movies. You only got 15 minutes. You don't have enough time to go through shit, so you're just like, fuck. I'm going to have them all weekend, so might as well get something I've seen before. Something that's pretty cool. So then you have Toy Soldiers, right? Always a cool movie. Anytime you watch it, cool story, just great action, whatever.
Sure.
Right? Well, what comes next? Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
Absolutely.
Those are 2 movies that you could watch at least 3 times over the weekend before you got to return them on Monday morning.
Oh, dude,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
You could just, yeah.
You can watch them multiple times. They're still good. They're not boring. You enjoy every bit of it. You find something new every time you watch them. You're like, oh, you know what? But then, you know.
Yeah, and then you don't have to watch it again for a long time.
And you didn't get GoldenEye. You just go back. You rent it throughout the week, and you're like, yes, finally.
I look at it like that, or like, hey, what's playing at the Dollar Theater?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, let's go see Toy Soldiers again.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man, let's go.
Yeah, fuck it. Don Johnson's the shit in that movie, you know? There's just so many good parts and good things about both of the movies that you could be happy with.
Absolutely.
It was like a great double featured DVD that you'd buy at Walmart from the $5 bin.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're like, whoa.
For half price,
Why did they put this here for $2.50? Damn, they're giving this away fucking after Thanksgiving? No way. That's some good movies. You know what I mean? It's just like surprising. Yeah. Like, damn, that was pretty fucking great. I'm glad I came in today. Okay. I mean, so I looked at it too, and I watched them in where I would watch Toy Soldiers first.
Okay.
And then watch Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. Because not too long ago, and I think it was the same thing you with Toy Soldiers. It was a couple months ago I watched Harley Davidson, Marlboro Man. HDMM. A little bit easier. And was like, damn, this is still a fucking pretty good movie. You know, I wasn't expecting that much.
Yeah.
It's like a once a year movie now.
That was exactly, so I was exactly the opposite. I had watched Toy Soldiers fairly recently. And I actually ended up watching the reverse order of what you watched.
Right. Yeah. No, it was cool because they were 2 enjoyable movies back to back. It was just, I mean, it just reminds me of going back into like the early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah,
and
for
just
sure.
having some fucking movies, you know? And that you got what you got. And then you always rented something that was familiar, just like with streaming now. You're like, okay, nothing's really on streaming. I can watch something completely brand new that I've never seen before that I always wanted to watch, or I can watch fucking Beverly Hills Cop.
Right.
Beverly Hills Cop, fuck it.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
That's kind of what it is. But this was before you had so much choice. Even then at the video store, the choice was huge.
When I was really young, like when my mom ran a video game store or not video game store, but a video store for a while.
VST.
Yeah. It had arcade video games inside it. I remember that.
Shit.
But the tapes themselves were super expensive. Like, they were paying $70 and $50 for these tapes back then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're expensive.
$80, whatever it was. It was, like, really high. I remember seeing their, like, invoices.
Right.
You know, when I was a kid.
Yeah. And they were the
I was
ones.
like, damn, those are pricey.
Yeah, they're like $100.
Yeah.
Because I remember if you damaged one at our Hastings started in like maybe a room or maybe a square footage of like your house.
Okay.
And it was just a brick, and it was real brick. And, you know, I mean, it was really low key. So I can imagine what it was like: wooden gondolas, records, and then just like a small section for videos. And it was the first place that you could really go in town.
Gotcha.
And it was the shit,
Right.
you know, and the price tags on them. You'd be looking like Warrior of the Lost World, and it's like $200. You're like, God damn. Exaggeration,
Right,
but
right.
this is before they expanded, and they pretty much took over Amarillo, and they had like 3 different locations, and it was really big. But that's where you could get them for like 99-cent rentals, you know,
Right.
for a week. You're like, whoa, video games, whatever. They
Yeah,
had
yeah.
everything, pop culture stuff, magazines, comic books. Yeah, everything.
Right on.
I won a what was it? Costume party for school in junior high. I was a Pillsbury Doughboy. Right. So demeaning, nonetheless, fucking successful, right? It's still one of those things that I look back on and I'm like, I'm glad I did it.
Sure.
And it's pretty cool that I won, you know, like $30 worth of, you know, free merchandise at Hastings. I got a $30 gift certificate, which is the shit, right?
Right.
And a little kid in, you know, 1990 going into this place that's like got all the cool shit. You're like, comic books,
Fuck yeah.
you know? And I remember wanting to buy movies, and you couldn't do it because they were so fucking expensive, dude.
Yeah.
And all the way up until Natural Born Killers, I think, is whenever they were becoming more affordable. The reason why I know this is my mom was in Dallas, and we always went to this Blockbuster, and they had, you know, the poster, and I was all into it. Didn't get the poster, which I was hoping that they would give it to us. And then, like, a copy of the movie would have been $100.
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, Jesus Christ. But that was in 93.
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Video store nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome.
But that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I cut you off to tell
That's
my
okay.
long tale about nothing.
It's all good, my friend.
Going to the video store,
Yeah.
the local video. But everybody has those memories
Yeah, of
that
course.
kind of lived through the same shit we did. It
Absolutely.
was great to go into the video store. That's why these two movies really encapsulate that kind of time period.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Getting La Bamba or something.
Yeah.
You're like, fucking La Bamba, man. I got that recorded. Nah, we need to get the real deal.
Right.
But Toy Soldiers, let's start with that one.
Sure. Well, real quickly, let's talk about some of the people, I guess, that are in this. Do we want to give a
Yeah, let's give it a
quick summary?
quick summary. Now, this was directed by Daniel Petrie Jr. So it looks like he did Beverly Hills Cop and Turner and Hooch. So the guy had done a lot of stuff, and then he gets to In the Army Now, and I don't know where he is now.
I was going to say I thought he did Free Willy, didn't he?
I think so. Let's see.
Or no, maybe that's
Maybe it was the writer.
that might be the other movie actually.
No.
I'll have to
Beverly-
look at my notes. Let me look at my notes real quick.
Well, his first one was a hit. He did the Neutron dance and kicked ass,
Oh,
right?
well, there you go.
Then he came in with part 2, which is personally my favorite in the Beverly Hills Cop saga. I really like that one.
Right.
Rosewood, fucking the shit. Yeah, and then Toy Soldiers. What a weird choice.
Yeah, but he actually got to write a good portion. He got to rewrite the original script of this because originally this movie was going to take place in Europe.
Oh,
It's based
yeah.
off a book, blah, blah, blah. I've never read the book. I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Nope.
But yeah, so he
I get
came
the
in.
gist.
He came in and rewrote it.
Yeah, it kind of changed everything
Yeah.
from the novel. William P. Kennedy he's the dude that wrote it.
Yes.
And then the director and David Kiep, which David Kiep's done a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That name is something that you see pop up quite a bit.
But it's about a band of children.
Rejects.
Yeah. It's a prep school. It's a bunch of for the reject prep school kids.
Pretty much the ones that are
If your parents have a ton of money,
and they don't want to take care of you, they
Yeah.
send you to these prep schools, and then these kids were acting out because they hated their parents,
yeah, so
So-
they've been kicked out of prep schools. That's where they end up.
and they end up at the
With Lou
Regis
Gossett
school.
Jr.
Yeah.
With Iron Eagle, he's there.
I'm out, I knew. Yeah, I mean, and then you got the cast in this movie is
The
incredible.
band of brothers, my friend.
Yeah, no, and it's
You
like
got the Sam from Lord of the Rings, Sean Astin. He did other things too, but that's what you know him from.
yes. Don't need to really expound on him.
Right.
Except for one connection.
Uh-oh.
He took his last name from his stepfather.
Yeah.
I never remember his first name, Aston from the Addams Family.
Yeah.
So that's our first Addams Family kind of alumni.
For you tracking,
Yeah.
you
Right.
guys at home that are tracking the
The Addams Family
Addams
references.
Family tracker. Yeah, it's one.
It's
We're at one.
It's the bubble sheet right here.
Yeah.
This is the bubble sheet where you're like, oh, okay. Then it goes to him. So then it starts Will Wheaton, which anybody that knows Star Trek or anything from this time period knows Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
He'd been around. He does a lot of writing now. He does a lot of directing still too. He's involved in a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Mainly Star Trek from last time I remember.
Doesn't
but
he have like an RPG podcast thing?
Probably.
I think
I mean,
so.
I could see it. I mean, he's one of those dudes that
He was one of those guys.
yeah, you could see him on that. What was the Trekkies movie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those with those very diehard kind of people. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
And then you got Keith Coogan, number 2 in the Addams Family bubble sheet. He's snuffy. Keith Coogan was the grandson of Ricky Coogan, which was the kid that starred in the Tramp, the very first Tramp movie with Charlie Chaplin. But he was Uncle Fester.
Yes.
So, which is, it's just a weird coincidence, you know.
Right.
And then Andrew Divoff, what was he in? He was in a lot of shit too.
That was
Luis. He was the one.
Kelly?
You've seen this dude in almost everything. This was his favorite role, but he was always some sort of Latin, terrorist.
he was the fucking Wishmaster.
Yeah. Oh, that's his big one.
He's the Dejin.
Yeah, he's a djinn. Another 48
I say
hours.
Dejin because there's a D.
And this one, he's like, he's like the lamest terrorist ever. Like he's like fucks up.
He's just a little late. He's a little late to the party every time.
About
you
10
know?
minutes.
Yep.
10 minutes. If he would have just thought things out, he could have avoided
Like
all
several
of this.
times throughout this movie.
You know,
Yeah.
he got his. You know, I mean, something happened, and he was like, let me think on it.
Yeah.
And then that was bad timing. You should have thought on it, fucking, before you just jumped into it, motherfucker. But anyway. But yes, Lewis, Callie?
Yeah.
He's the bad guy.
Yeah.
What
He's
other
trying
movie?
to get his dad out from Law and Order.
He was on the
Will
string.
Wheaton's dad is also from Law and Order.
Oh shit!
Because he's the mob guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that dude.
Yeah. He's been in a lot of stuff, but that's like his biggest role, like for the longest time.
He
With
yeah,
Law and Order.
he's like a Jag dude.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
he's on Jag.
Okay. I thought you meant he was like just a guy.
Yeah, he's just some dude.
That's what I do say when I talk about football people. I'm like, no, he's just a guy.
He's just a Jag. But then Ardley Emery, if you know him, everybody knows him as the drill sergeant
yeah,
from
course.
Full Metal Jacket,
Of
which is
course,
the
of
shit.
course.
Uh,
Also, wasn't he in
he was going to be in An Officer and a Gentleman or whatnot. Or what was the movie that had Lou Gossett Jr. and won the Oscar with Richard Gere?
that was Officer and Gentleman.
He was going to
Yeah.
be that drill sergeant.
Yeah, yeah.
But Lou Gossett actually got the job.
Right.
But then he did Full Metal Jacket before this.
Yeah.
Kind of took over for whoever they had for it.
Which was perfect.
Yeah, which you know him from everything. He had his
Yeah.
own TV show,
Yeah.
fucking.
Oh,
The
yeah, he's been in a ton of
Frighteners.
things.
Yeah, he's one of the dudes like Dale Dye. Dale Dye
Yes.
is the dude, the military guy that you see in every 80s military movie as like a sergeant. He's always a technical coordinator or some shit.
Right.
And then Mason Adams. Mason Adams is the dude that he's the one that has the memorable voice. God dang, what was his main thing? This guy was all over the commercials. He's the head of whatever the government people that came in or the something.
Yeah, he was in a bunch of stuff. And a bunch of commercials. You're absolutely right.
He was all. It was very Smuckers. With a name like Smuckers, it has to be good. That's him. He's a Smuckers guy, so you know that dude. As soon as you hear his
Absolutely.
voice, you'd be like, "Oh shit, I know that voice. What is it? Is it butter?" I didn't know who it was, but good. Yes. Now Mason Adams. So, which is a weird kind of a casting choice.
Then you get Brody, brother.
Right. Denholm Elliott. Where he just kind of pops
Get
up
lost
there.
in his library.
Yeah. And he's actually pretty much the same character.
100%.
You know, yeah, but he's like more modern.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? He's
for
like, hey,
sure.
I'm hip. But-
Don't laugh.
So
Try not to laugh.
if he's the headmaster and then
Louis Gossett Jr. is the dean.
he's the dean. So
Yeah.
he's in charge of discipline. He's like the assistant
Yeah.
principal, right?
Yeah.
And the main principal is Denholm.
yes.
Excuse me. And
You couldn't have a black man in charge
in
of
the
a
80s,
prep school
no,
in the 80s.
especially rich kids.
That was 90s, 91.
Yeah.
But I always, real quick, we got to get this out of the way. 91 was kind of still the 80s.
In a way, yes.
90 for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Still had the same feeling. It hadn't
It, like-
the 90s hadn't started yet.
Yeah,
Until
that's what
about
I'm saying.
91.
Yeah.
Hadn't really got off the ground.
Yeah. Sorry. So we'll back up.
Well,
back
this-
into this.
uh,
But yeah.
Honestly, the thing about this movie that surprised me so much was it was such a well-made movie.
For real.
Very well made, very scripted. It had the right, again, cadence or the right map to get you to the right spots, and
Sure.
it didn't waste a lot of time getting to those places, major
Agreed.
plot points, and it kept you interested. And even with the most inept bad guy, you're kind of like, all right. I mean, I guess I could see it.
I love that the Wishmaster guy is like, this was my favorite villain role to ever play.
Yeah,
He said that.
but he was the Wishmaster.
Like, I don't know. I like this movie better than I like the Wishmaster.
Oh,
But
of course, but
I don't know if it's because of his performance necessarily. You know what I mean? But I think he does a fine job. I'm not.
he was the
bitching.
Wishmaster.
Yeah.
He was a djinn.
Yeah.
He
Exactly.
he was there.
see?
He was put there to make everybody laugh,
That's right.
and then have a cavalcade of horror stars in it.
For sure.
Except for everybody was in it.
Yeah.
Kane Hodder was in it, everybody. Anyway, so what's this movie about?
So this starts out in Colombia, and isn't it Colombia?
think
Yes.
so.
Yes.
It's a South American,
I'm pretty
country.
sure it's supposed to be Colombia.
It's one of our banana republics, probably non-extradition company or a country, that's in the rainforest somewhere.
Yeah, it's in Colombia anyways. It is. I remember now. But so there's like a truck driving up to like looks like a Capitol building, whatever.
Nice columns.
Yeah, super columns. I think that was actually filmed in San Antonio.
Ooh, the columns on that building go all the way up. Sexy columns.
But yeah, so basically our terrorist guy, we meet him pretty quick because he's inside this building with the judge trying to find his dad, and they've got like a hostage hanging out the window.
They got them all like on the
there
windowsills.
were, like a bunch of people lined up on the windows.
And he slams his gun down like a gavel.
Yeah, smart guy.
Yeah.
This movie could have been over
Yeah.
real quick.
It could have been over before it started, really.
Oh.
He was all cocoon, cocoon.
Yeah.
So then you got the one dude that's his henchman, that's been a henchman in a lot of things. And his other role that you know him from is like Total Recall.
Yeah.
He's got those glasses, and you're like, oh, that's the fucking dude,
Yeah.
He was in a lot of shit too, but you barely get to see him. He's the only white guy in the whole room because they're all Latin Americans.
Right.
And apparently his father, Luis or whatever, his father has gotten captured by the Americans because he's a drug dealer.
Yeah. So that's Law and Order number 1.
Boom. Dung, dung.
Is that father?
Yeah, and he wants to get him out, so he's holding all these people hostage.
Yeah.
This is where he kind of shows his ineptness. Because he looks over at the judge and he's like, pick your head up, man. And the judge is like, listen, I've told you like several times that your dad is not here. The Americans came and picked him up and they took him back to America. And he's like, bullshit. You're a professional liologist. You know what I mean? So basically, right after they get done with this he's like, dude, for real, just check. Your dad's not here. You're watching the wrong airplane.
Right.
They kicked the woman out of the deal. She's in the pink dress. She's bloody on the ground. Home dude that I mentioned earlier is watching TV, and he's like, hey, look at this. News flash. Drug dealer's dad just lands in America. He's like, I told you. So it looks like you are telling the truth. Come with me.
So they escaped to a helicopter.
And go up like, 30,000 feet?
Apparently.
Look
that guy
like
follows for a while.
Yes. I was like, how did they get that helicopter that high? What is the highest that a helicopter can go? Right?
Yeah, there's a bit of, I don't know how that perspective
There's an
works.
elevation that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that they can hit, and he damn near hit it.
Yeah.
And he just throws him out.
He was maximum velocity.
Right. So, of course, all of the American people, they're going to be looking out for their families, right? Because he's coming to America. They know it, but they don't know how he's going to get there, right?
Yeah.
So then...
If only they'd watched that Eddie Murphy movie.
Yes.
They would have known how he would have got there.
Yes. But then, so they're kind of out of the picture. We get to see the main people. We're at prep school. They're playing soccer and
Yeah,
shit.
so yeah, we're out of that. We're to this, like you said, this prep school.
Where's it? Upstate New York or some shit, set,
I think it was in Virginia.
Oh, yeah. Very, very beautiful
Yeah.
setting. Nice school. Been used in other movies and shit like that, too. But
I don't know.
just
Could've been
all
New York,
inclusive,
or-
yeah. So we get to kind of see them being the rejects. He paints on the sign reject while they fuck with the cop, right?
Right.
So they're troublemakers, and you're like, oh.
And you got
No.
the dean's already waiting for him.
Yeah. So it's lights out. They have a secret room where they go, and Sean Astin, he's like the leader of these kids,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's
Will
the alpha.
Wheaton, yeah, he's the one, which is kind of unusual for him at the time too, to be kind of like that alpha after like Goonies, and that was one of the cool parts of the movie is you related to him back then. You saw him
Right.
in Goonies as a kid, and then you see him in this, and you're like, he's fucking pretty good, He's a pretty good actor. He did a pretty good job in this movie.
Yeah.
But he really took it over, and at such a young age, he did a really good leading kind of a character.
Yeah.
Will Wheaton was kind of weird.
Yeah, he was okay.
He was like mad, but like not mad.
He was, you know what he reminds me of? And I don't know when, I don't know the timing of the movies I'm thinking of, but like kind of a poor man's Keanu Reeves.
Kind of.
Well, yeah.
Mm.
Kind of like from Gus Van Sant movies, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He kind of went with the flow, but yet was very passionate about shit.
Yeah.
But he kept everything in.
And he was the son of the mafia guy.
Yes, right.
Who is Law and Order Cracker number 2.
Dum dum. NCISCI. Which, so they're getting into their whole, like, they're introducing these kids. They're a group of kids. So there's, 5 of them?
Yeah, so that, like you said, they go to some I think there's 5, right? 6?
5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
something
there's
like other kids that we didn't talk about.
Yeah. Didn't really need to.
Yeah, no.
So they're all
Watch the
roommates.
movie if you want.
Yeah, watch it.
Yeah, but they like you said, they go like in the middle of the night down to a room and they're drinking. Is that when they're drinking the scope?
Yeah, they're drinking.
It's mouthwash, but it's not mouthwash.
Yeah, it's what was it? 100 proof, 3 parts 100 proof alcohol, vodka. 1 part creme de menthe, and like what was the last ingredient? It was because the creme de menthe was supposed to give it the flavor of mouthwash, right? With the alcohol, and there was just one more thing. I don't remember. But he sold them all for like fucking $30. So he made out, right?
Right, until
this is the part that I thought was pretty lame. The phone sex part.
Oh.
I was like, what the fuck is this? Why would this even be in this movie? I mean, that is the lamest.
Yeah, so yeah, just to paint the picture, Sean Astin's character hooks up a phone box basically to the phone line that's.
He traced the phone line. Yeah, he traced the phone line to that older portion of the building, and figured out that he could tap into it with one of those lineman tools.
Right, and he had a little answering machine so that he could put it on speaker.
Yeah,
and they called a sex line, as you do, with a bunch of buddies and hanging out. I guess I don't
drinking
know.
scope.
I've never called a sex line.
No,
but. I assume that if I was going to, it probably wouldn't be hanging out with 6 other dudes. You know what I mean?
Yes. That's why it was so lame. It was like, shouldn't you do this on your own? It's like, why don't you guys just go to the booths? Yeah. Why doesn't he just go pick it up on booth number 2? That's yours. It's just fucking lame as shit. And they're like, do you want me to take off my bra? He's like, sure. He's like, oh my God.
Does he tell him he's got long blonde hair and he's
black?
Happen to mention that I'm black.
Like, I like blonde-haired black men or long-haired black men. What? They're like, yeah. Tell her to take it off. And it's just, it's like maybe what they would do. And these guys are supposed to be like real troublemakers. Yeah. And you go on a phone sex line, must have been calling Miss Cleo. That would have been the shit. So, hey.
They would have known those motherfuckers were coming.
Hey, look behind your back, man. Oh, shit, he's coming. So then they get busted, of course. Yeah. Because Lou
Gossett Jr. of all people.
Yeah.
He's officer and gentleman in their asses. But not really, because he's got a heart of gold.
Yeah. He's upstairs, and he's like, man, they're on the phone. Because, of course.
He picks up the phone and hears her like, oh.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, my God, I'm about to blow my load, right? They're all in there just like, oh, they're even talking about it, too. They're like, first rule of Fight Club is.
Right.
They go through that whole deal. So they hide. He gets busted. They're like, damn. So, of course, they all get busted. And he's like,
real quick, but they had that moment. He wasn't going to give them up at all.
No, yeah.
That's important, I think, throughout this, like, because then it makes more sense.
He was going to take the blame for everything.
Yeah.
And Lou Gossett Jr. kind of looks at him and is like, you know, this is pretty fucking ingenious what you did. You know, I got to hand it to you, you know, got to give it respect for it.
Yeah.
And he makes him break it and shit.
And then go get the...
Then they have to get that shit. But you're right. He doesn't turn anybody in. And then even when the second dude comes out, he's like, he was bluffing. It's like, no, I wasn't bluffing.
Right.
I would post somebody outside this door for the next 24 hours and do a full bed search or some shit like that. And it's like, ah, shit. So everybody came out.
Right.
It's like, he's not bluffing. So then he pretty much like makes him go back to every room that he got or he sold the alcohol to and pick it all back up. So it's embarrassing as fuck.
Right.
So you get to kind of see this, you know, them fighting. He's like, I'm not going to suspend you because I have a heart of gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Lou Gossett Jr. I taught some dude how to fly an airplane.
That's right. And I boxed one was really old.
Yes. Yes. And James Woods fucking is a vampire hunter.
Yes.
Yeah, come with me. So so he's like, whatever. And of course, you know, Sean Astin's like, I'm going to get him back tonight.
Yeah.
Will Wheaton's like, oh, man, I'm lame. I just want to go to sleep. Like, it really doesn't do a lot of talking him into it. He's like, come on. So then they take everything outside and put it on the lawn. Great prank. Cool.
Yeah, it was a
better
good
than
one.
anything else. And they all, the headmaster and the dean, they both know.
Yeah, there's like a moment where they like laugh to each other and they're like, okay, don't try that.
Yeah. So they bust him and he puts him on pots and pans. So that comes into play later on too.
Yeah.
So yeah, the dean is cool enough that he goes into town and he basically blackmails the police officer about his uncle's liquor store that the kids bought the liquor at
Yeah.
to make it all. And so right as soon as he's putting the nail on the coffin on that cop, right? The dude comes running out, there's a shooting.
Yeah.
Because guess who's there? Because in the meantime, in this whole thing, they're sneaking across the border.
Yeah, that's right.
They even come over
In
in like
their
a truck.
yeah.
And La Migra shows up, right? And they're like, holy shit. And the dude pulls out that 50 cal on those two dudes. It looked like... It's like... So they get across.
Yeah.
So we know they're coming. But already they took one dude out.
Yeah.
That's why there was only 5, because one dude was gone. One roommate was out.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
So they took him because he was already part
He
of
was
something.
replaced with 2 mini ones later.
Yeah. yeah, exactly. They made it up.
Yeah.
But they took him out because he was an important guy in that trial or whatnot. So
Right.
they didn't want him to go. And that was
The trial of the...
Yeah, that was before everything happened. So the U.S. government did the right thing.
Yeah, Luis's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did the right thing because they knew he was coming.
Right.
Of course. But little did he know
Exactly.
that he was already gone. This is blunder number 2.
Yep.
And it's like the worst one, too, because, damn, they set up quick.
Yeah.
Like, they go over there, they shoot the dude at the front gate, because home dude's like, we don't want to kill anybody. And the guy's like, toot. So they get him.
Yep.
Then, man, they're rigging the bombs. I mean, they have everything
They have
within
all the
like 30
kids,
minutes.
Cattled up.
Yeah.
And then they're smart. The smartest thing I think they implement is the every hour.
Yes.
So every hour that they have these kids, so they take over the whole school. Some people are going to die. But every hour they have to do a head count of everybody. And if somebody's not there, they will shoot 5 of the other kids.
Yeah. And then if 2 are missing, then so on and so forth.
Yeah, and that built 10, 15.
Yeah, because I think the first night he was like,
What if
first
they just all
day,
didn't come?
Yeah.
Come at me, motherfucker.
Like the first day it was going to be, they were going to have one check when they sent them in there.
Yeah.
They were going to count, send them to bed, right? And then they would check them in the morning. And then if they were good, they would let them go outside. And then have to come back in every hour to fucking check them. So
I mean, just saying that's smart.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
a smart part of the plan.
it's like the best thing,
Yeah.
honestly, because they were always keeping count. Nobody could be missing. They had the right intel to get the right setup.
Yeah. So unless you had the right person in there that could like take advantage of that hour,
Yeah, right.
I mean,
There's no way.
what are you gonna do?
Right. And I mean,
and you're like risking
They have people.
5 of your friends.
Yeah, they have the people in the bell tower. They have the people on the back. They have the
Yeah.
people on the other front.
Yeah, so there's 12 total, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, including
12,
13.
12 of the terrorists.
Yeah, and then 13 would be Luis. He'd
Okay,
be the
yeah,
last one, I
yeah.
think. Something like that.
Of course
'cause
he would.
He's in the headmaster's office.
Yeah.
You know, where
Where the detonator's at, and the one that's strapped to his arm, too.
it's just a garage door opener.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But it glows.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
glows
It
red.
beeps.
Yeah, and stuff. Blue,
So-
whatever color it was. I don't even remember.
Yeah, but
It's
it's
red.
it's taped on him.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah, as you
Like
do.
I can push it any time.
Yeah.
It's a well thought out plan.
Yeah.
I mean, literally,
Yeah,
the
it's
plan
a
that
pretty
they
good
had
plan.
was very well thought out. But then they get down to it, and
But it doesn't even seem like that was their plan initially. Weren't they just going to take that kid and leave?
Well, they were gonna take him hostage, but still
Oh.
be able to negotiate with the other students or whatnot. I guess that's what it was.
Oh,
So they let the
'cause
faculty go.
I think really to me it sounded more like once that happened, he's like, maybe we can use these. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was like a pivot.
Well, yeah, because they were only there for that dude. They were
Right.
only there
But
for
I
the
mean,
guy
maybe
that
they're
left.
just expecting the worst, which is a good plan.
Yeah, they went in. They were going to take over the place, but they did it better than they did at the embassy place where the
Yeah.
judicial center that they were at down south.
For sure.
And they made sure that they covered all their bases this time, so nobody could get in, nobody could get out, and they were just hoping to have that one kid there so they could negotiate. And then whenever they figured out that the other guys were there,
Right.
the other kids from that place, they were like, "Oh shit."
So we do have something.
We actually have some because it pivoted at that point.
Yeah.
But it was like it was all planned just for that one kid.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. And then they come in and fucking everything's wired to every door, everything. I mean, they put that C4 up and fucking tape and and it's all, I like all the toughs because all the
Yeah.
toughs in the movie are all the ones you see in every other movie.
Yeah, 100%.
Where they're the toughs. These guys, they're in the background. They're Latin Americans. They look mean, you know.
They're pretty tough.
Yeah, they're toughs. Hanging tough.
Whoa. Don't be hanging out with those toughs.
Yeah, so the plan's going.
Yeah.
Right? And they figure out who they're looking for. Denholm Elliott's even looking at the dude like, man, he's not here. I swear to God, you could do whatever. The dude's fucking gone. And he's like, you are lying to me. It's like, no, dude, for real. And then
You killed my father. Prepare to die.
You are lying. If I find out you are lying to me, I will start killing the children. And so literally, the white henchman number 1 comes in. And he's like, "Hey, guess what? He's not here." He's like, "You are telling the truth. As long as you continue to do that, we will be good." So he sends him out. And when he leaves, he's like, "What the fuck, man? I thought we paid for good intel." We
So
paid
it
a
was
lot
like
of money.
second time
Yeah.
in a row. He's like, mother, missed him by that much.
Yes. It's like, God damn it, I'm a day late every fucking where I go. God, we can't pack it up. And he's like,
No.
but wait a minute. See all the kids that are in here.
Yeah, and
That's
that's-
when Home Dude notices who they are.
And I don't remember who's what other than Will Wheaton's the mafia boss's son.
You got like a national defense, or the head of
What's
Democratic
Snuzzy?
Party. Yeah.
Snuffies.
The
dad, yeah.
the head of the Democratic National Party or
Or
whatever.
Republican, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe something. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
They had joint chiefs of staff.
Yeah.
There
But a
was-
lot of them are these kids that are part of this group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've been kicked out of multiple schools, we find out.
Yeah.
We find out a little bit later just what kind of kids they are more.
Yeah.
After we find out how successful their parents are, and that's why they're there. And like Sean Astin's dad is a contractor. But he like fucking is the biggest construction dude on the Eastern Seaboard.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you got the mafia dude, you got all those people like that.
Yeah.
So that Luis dude's like, whoa, you are who I think you are. Nice to meet you.
I like they listed all of their accolades.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
It's like multiple things
Yeah.
about them.
Yeah.
And he's chairman of the
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Get back in line. No, don't you lie to me, son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like so everybody in the core group too.
Right.
Of course, the mafia kids got to be in the core group.
Yeah.
So, Orville Redenbacher or the Smuckers dude shows up. This is after, the sheriff pulls the lamest goddamn fucking sneak move that he could ever pull.
Yeah.
He's standing open in this giant fucking front gate with 2 other police officers behind him. And he's like, hey, get in the back of my car and kneel down. It'll be just like me.
Yeah, it's a good plan. Let me tell you.
Some dude just had to have glasses to see that he was fucking faking because he's driving. He's like, it's only me in the car. Hold on. No shoot. And then they start shooting. First thing happens, he bails. He's like gone. They shoot the fucking rocket at it. And Lou Gossett like, whoa, holy shit, this just happened.
Right.
So he's at the front gate. And then Orville Redenbacher shows up. Home dude is like, he's like, okay. He shows up first. And then R. Lee Emery shows up and saying, hey, we can only...
So they called the Smuckers guy. Called in R. Lee to help. And he's a 2-star general, I think. Yeah.
It's FBI and I think in them.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Right.
We're not... That's the American policy. We're not going to fucking do it no matter who's in there, no matter what.
Right.
So all the parents are flipping out because it's like the next day and they're like, holy shit, my kid's in there, we don't have political influence like some of you guys do. My kid's on a full scholarship.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of kids in there, but they're only being held because of one kid.
Right.
That's not even there.
Yeah. That kid's he's skiing.
Yeah, they're in Vail. And for some reason, whenever they figure out who they are, then that's whenever he's like, yeah, we're going to do this, and these are my demands. Yeah. And do not fuck with them. This is what I want because I know who I got. Yeah. So, yeah. And
he sends a list of demands out with the faculty.
Yes.
That's how he gets it out to them.
And they pull out the only person that's died so far, which was a teacher.
Right.
Some kid gets to the phone, which I don't know why he shot it.
He dials 911.
Yeah.
And then,
drops it. And then
that dude's kid, the guy was about one of the terrorists was going to go after him, and the teacher
he was shooting up the phone booth, right? And so the teacher comes out, the chemistry teacher or some shit.
Yes.
He's like, hey, watch out. And then Luis shoots him in the back of the head. Yeah. So they're carrying him out at the same time. Yep. Lou Gossett Jr. knows who it is, and he's kind of explained to him, hey, these kids are like... They're bad kids, and most of them, everybody's like, why do you have these kids in your school? He's like, I can't help who their fathers are. I can't help who they're related to. Right. These kids need a chance. That's all they're really asking for. That's right. And that was the cool part about him to make it seem a little bit more grounded. You can see how he cared about the kids.
That's right.
Heart
of gold.
Yeah. And Denholm Elliott's still in there. The headmaster's still there. And so they put together this little, which they really can't go in there as a clandestine team because everything is covered. All angles are covered. Right. In that fucking place. Well, then while they're, the first night they're just sitting there and Sean Astin's like, man, what is this? And he's asking some questions. He's like, just wait until we get rescued. But Will Wheaton is the one that's like, we got to do something. We're in here because he hates his dad. I don't think that was really the motivation. It was more like he was a better person. He was trying to prove that he was different than his father.
100%.
Just like an underlying kind of a thing. He was he's like, I fucking hate that dude. I hate the name that I have to live with. So I'm gonna step up when shit's bad. Well, he was the main one that they really were like, don't fuck with this dude.
Well, when they figure out who it is, in fact, I think that there's a scene where his dad's like, hey, go make this happen to one of his cronies.
Yeah. Well, they meet at an airport and he's like, hey, we respect this guy. We've done business with him. Home dude does business. Home dude does business. Home dude does business. So we just need to respect that part. We need to get a message in. So they talk to his father, which they speak in code and shit. Yeah, he's ready to get out of jail. 1-3. Yeah. And it's like a 42 specific deal. Yeah. And he's like, hey, how's your dad? And he's like, well, he's tired of being in jail. Yeah. So you're like, all right. So you have that in play. You have the government, which if they go in, it has to have an executive order from the president to cross and actually go after the terrorists, right? Right. So they're not going to do that. R. Lee Emery's like, he puts that when he's getting out of the chopper pretty much. He's on the walk up. to the tent, to headquarters.
Absolutely.
And he's like, oh, okay. So he's his hands are tied. Luke Gossett Jr. can't really do anything, but yet he's still there because he's integrated in it. And he's like, hey, these kids are bad, but I know somebody's going to do something. I'm just waiting for it. They're not going to sit by and watch shit like this happen. They hate authority.
Right.
So like, whatever,
Yeah, he's
Smucker
like, I'm afraid
knows.
they might do something.
Right.
Yeah.
And kind of jeopardize everything. Which, of course, is one of the that's how a lot of fucking people would probably react in that power.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But like, step back. We don't negotiate with terrorists, but, we're not going to let these kids die.
Right.
That's where it kind of switches, because then they're in there and Will Wheaton kind of pumps them up. They're like, let's start getting some information out there to him.
Well, first he's like, let's grab machine guns.
Let's call
Sean
him over.
Astin's like, calm the fuck down.
We can't do that. What are we going to do? What are you going to do with that one gun?
Yeah, right.
Which is exactly how he fucking dies.
Right. So foreshadowing. But so they grab all the information they can of where people are, how many there are,
The names,
the drawings that Will Wheaton does that are masterful.
yeah, works of art.
Yes.
And you can see how because even when they're looking at it, you see the face of Luis, and it's almost done.
Yeah.
But it's like he ran out of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no. So they have to
Yeah.
figure out how they can do this and get this information out there.
Yeah.
So they look at schedules for the guards. They see where they're at.
Right.
They know their names because Home Dude speaks Spanish. A
Right.
little.
Yeah.
So then
Like-
they have to get that information out.
Yeah.
So how are they going to get the information out? They only have an hour in between
Sean Astin's
counts.
gonna run.
And he's a fucking badass in this.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm ready to do it.
I got
I can
this.
do this. Once he puts his mind to it, he's on it, right?
Yeah.
So
And he does.
he does.
He does it. They do a whole distraction thing. He does. And then the U.S. government's like, no, you got to come with us and put him in a helicopter.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
I'd be
He's like,
like-
listen, I'm from the school. He was
If
like,
I'm
"Dude,
not back, they're gonna kill 5 people.
there's gonna be more people dying.
Yes.
Yeah, which I don't understand. The dude's like, I don't want to take responsibility. So you want to take responsibility for five
Yeah.
versus one that you're like, well, where did you pop up from? You didn't come from the school. Whatever, right? So he uses that back exit. He gets there, he hands all the stuff. Lou Gossett Jr. actually goes and meets him. So he steals a...
I love it because he flips the tent.
yeah.
So it goes down on him, and then he steals one of the Jeeps.
The Humvees. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in the Humvee. They're chasing him, right?
Yep.
Because why did they take him so far away? They went to B base, They went to the back base, And the dude was like, I ain't letting you go. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
I don't care that I know what the situation is. Fuck you. You're not going anywhere.
Right.
I'm not taking responsibility. He's like, he's part of... I trust him. He can't lie to me because he even says it.
Yeah.
I can't lie to you. You know this is true. They're going to kill 5 more kids. So he barely gets there, right? Falls in the water, so he's all wet.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing with the towel in the window. So he basically, the helicopter is blocking his way. Count starting. They're all freaking out, because the Coogan guy, he sets a fire alarm off. That was supposed to get him to come back, right? After he dropped everything off, was him to come back, which I don't know why he didn't just take it to the opening of that deal, drop it off, run back. Then they do that. And then they use Morse code to call the people and say, hey, there's a book over there.
The book.
There is a book by the storm drain.
Did any of them know Morse code?
They
The answer's
said
no.
something. Yeah, they said something.
The answer's no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said something about it. So barely makes it back.
Yeah. But he doesn't even make it back in time. They've counted 3 times now, and they're about to kill the headmaster and like a bunch of kids.
He starts picking out. They get to like 3 kids.
Yeah.
3-4 kids, right?
And then he slides in like
he's like, sorry, I was in the
risky
shower.
business style.
Yeah. He's in his
Towel.
towel. Right? He's in a towel.
because he fell in the creek.
Yeah, but he's like, oh, he's wet. He's telling the truth.
You don't think later on they would have found his wet clothes, or like was he going to get there before them?
Where did he take off his socks?
He was throwing shit when he was running, and I get it because he was in a hurry, trying to make sure people don't die.
Yes. Yes, but then he fucking beats him on the desk
Yeah.
with the little deal. He's like, I went to a prep school like this. My father sent it to me, but they did not take advantage.
Yeah.
And he just beats the shit out of him.
Yep.
So he welts him up, and then of course he gets back and he's like, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this shit.
And then Will Wheaton's like, machine guns again.
Yeah. That's the fucked up part, right? Because they literally don't think that the kid can do it. They don't trust him. And Luke Gossing's like, no, listen, I mean, if he says he could do it, he can do it. And they're like, whatever, we're not going to do it. We can't do it. We're not going to go in there according to what this kid says. We're not going to do what should be done. We're staying away, right?
Well, because they have the plan to take him down to the sub-basement.
Right.
Take all the kids down to the sub-basement and just bomb the fuck out of it.
Right.
Basically.
And they would survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were within something, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what their plan would be, because they know that the other guys don't know that it's there.
Right.
So they could escape, right? But they just got to do it.
Or if it did explode. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
That's why you'd be on.
Right,
Not
'cause-
because the U.S. would bomb it. That's
Yeah,
weird.
because he could blow it up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He could blow it up with the remote control.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's whenever they talk to the father in jail, like the lawyer shows up or something. It's like, hey, they respect you. They don't want to hurt they don't want to do anything to you. So they want to let the kid go or something. He's like, hold on, give me a pen. So he writes down a message and he's like, hey, you're free to go. I love that shit. So, hey man, how's it going? Me and your dad are friends.
Yeah.
We're good here. Okay. Make sure you tell him.
It was an accident. Oh, wait, no, that's later.
Yeah. Because he's like, you're free. And he's like, no, I don't want to go. And he's like, I hate my dad. It's like, you hate your father? You're free. You know, I mean, he's trying to just let him go. And Will Wheaton, they drag him out. So then he hits the one South American tough.
Yeah, he does a elbow move out of this world.
Grabs his gun, just like he was talking,
Yeah.
right? And then just runs outside and starts firing. Like, he's like, ah!
I wonder if you ever thought, I've never shot a gun before.
How does this work?
Yeah. Because it's not good for him. He's just
No.
like spraying in the
No.
air.
Well, he fires a couple of shots out forward. And
Yeah.
then he just like, the gun still is in his hand. He's like, ah. And then he gets killed.
Yes.
Right in front of all of them.
Yeah.
Right. And they're just like, oh no, my buddy's dead. So they bring him in. And it's the one dude. And he's like, it's important you say, we did not mean to do this. Like, I didn't want to kill him.
He says that like 4 times.
I know.
though.
He's like, dude, for real, not our fault. We didn't want to harm that kid.
Yeah, right.
He did it to himself. It was an accident. He grabbed the gun, and then that's when the mafia dude's like,
Like,
uh-uh.
I'll show you what an accident
Yeah.
is.
And so we get to see Sean Astin. He's like, my best friend's dead, you know. And he's like, man, look at your back. He's like, fuck my back, you know. We're not going to do this shit anymore. And that's when, you know, home dude like does the mirror back.
Yeah,
'Cause they're
yeah.
like, okay, are we going to do this plan? And because they know that after Will Wheaton got killed, the mafia guy talks to his other mafia dude and is like, no, there's no fucking such thing as an accident with a machine gun. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then he wastes him. They have a riot, of course.
You know,
He gets his throat
his
slit.
throat slit right from
So-
behind.
And seeing that, and I feel so bad for his son, because he's like, God damn it. I didn't mean to do this.
Luis was the good guy all along.
Yeah, it's like, it's just, I want my dad back.
Well, maybe if they weren't like drug dealers and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
you know.
But with the American mafia, they're like, nah, fuck this dude. So he's just like, good God, we still have enough people. I can get something. I don't care what it is. At this point, I'm going to blow this shit up. So the whole time they're trying to develop this plan to get the receiver chip from both of their
Yeah, so that was like
airplane-
in the information.
Yes.
That they gave him was an idea for this, and they were like, "Well, that's weird, but might
it could work.
Yeah.
It could work because if you just switch this chip,
So
it'd
there's-
reverse work.
Right. So they're taking the chip from the drone and switching it with the one that's in the detonator.
Yes, which is in the
connected to the wristband.
and it's in the headmaster's office.
Correct.
So how do they get the airplane and get into that room at the same time without Luis being there? So that's the plan.
Right.
That's how they're going to basically get everybody rescued. They're going to get him out. They're going to switch that out. Then they're going to get everybody downstairs, and whenever he's like beep, they're going to as they're storming the place.
Yes.
Because at that point too, right before that starts to take off, they basically start their little run in there. Luke Gossett Jr. shows them how to get in there because they're like, he's gonna fucking kill everybody because his dad's dead now.
Right.
So they cut off all communications, no radio, no television, no nothing. He wakes up one day, he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he calls on the phone, he's like, you there? What do you think you're doing?
He's like, the power's down.
Yeah, there's a power outage in the county. Smuckers related. And so, like, he literally, like, is bluffing him, and Lou Gossett has to wait. And he's like, I can't wait.
Yeah, so basically, because Lou Gossett showed him how to get in to that portal.
Yeah, so that firefight's going on.
Yeah.
And Home Dude's in the cafeteria because Coogan is, like, having an asthma attack.
Right.
Supposedly. He's already...
It's a fake asthma attack.
But he's been smoking the whole time. He even does a little fucking... a matchbook with the lighter or with the cigarette.
The smoke alarm.
They're like, "Aye!" They just get sons of bitches. So that was how he was supposed to get back.
Yeah.
So he missed that, and then they shot at the helicopter and everything. But so
helicopters got shot at.
Yeah. So they go into the bathroom, right? And they climb up because they're going into the
vents.
Because they're actually going to do it. Because Aston was not going to do it. He was like, we're not going to do this. They're going to fucking kill us. This is stupid. Let's just wait. And they're like, we believed in your plan yesterday.
We believe in it today.
We're going to do it.
Let's go.
So, of course, he basically gets everybody downstairs.
Right.
They get the whole, hey, follow me. So they go into the room. The plan's set. Lou Gossett Jr. is like, hey, why are you guys all dead? So take me to the headmaster's office, right? So he has to go into the back. In the meantime, Luis captures Home Dude, Sean Astin, has him basically, right? He's like, I'm going to fucking kill you now, you son of a bitch. So he knows everything's over. Everybody's dying, explosions.
And one of the military people, police people, SWAT people, whoever they were, is coming around the corner, right? But then Lou Gossett Jr. jumps through the window.
Yes. They're making their way in
because he's about to kill.
Because he has
Sean
you turned
Astin.
around in his face.
Yeah.
Because he tries to push the button and it makes the fucking airplane go. He's like, that's what broke him.
Yeah, that is what broke him. So you're right. Before that happened, that's when it happened.
He was like,
I'm just gonna blow this shit up. Fuck it.
Fuck it. He's just looking around and you can see the sweat and the fucking hair in his eyes. And he's like, I'm sorry. And he like really just like flips, and then Home Dude like busts through the window, shoots him at one point, and then we get the really bad Frankenstein looking makeup explosion at the back of his head. It's like, it's like, so he's dead.
Yeah.
So Lou Gossett Jr. saves the day.
Yeah.
So does Sean Astin. They're friends because he's like, I'm sorry I was such a dick to you. I never took it personal. Oh, yeah. He's like, that mean I'm off of pots and pans? You're not going to get off that easy.
Yeah. Fade out to some music.
Yes.
All right.
After they all meet, they're like, where is everybody? We're all here. Yay. Done. Toy soldiers. Dun, 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 dun. So then you stop it. You're starting to rewind that tape because you don't want to pay 50 cents. This might not be the only time you watch it.
That's right.
So final thoughts. Toy Soldiers, 1991.
I'll be honest. It wasn't the cleverest movie I've ever seen.
Die Hard for kids.
But I enjoyed the shit out of this movie. And there were so many people in it, dude. I'm like, what?
Every time. Kenan Thompson was in it.
Yeah.
Did you see him in that background? I was like, that's Kenan. No way. So I rewound it too.
Nice.
Oh, it is. Which is cool as shit. I was like, damn, there's so many people in this movie.
And it was, what I liked about it was what you expected. It was like Commando.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's no twist ending,
Somebody's going to die. Van Damme's going to save the ice rink.
Yeah, exactly. But they actually lost. So they were. This movie made money barely. It was like a $10 million budget, I think, and they made 15.
Oh, okay.
So, it did something.
Paid the salaries.
But they were up for an award for like youth in acting or something like that. Like,
So this is like a heavyweights movie.
yeah. Well, so they were up for this award for its ensemble cast,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
For like this youth in cinema.
Yeah, kind of like a newer Brat Pack type
Yeah.
of a deal, right?
You know who they lost out to? The cast from Boys in the Hood.
Ooh.
How would you go up against that at all, dude?
Ooh, Boys in the Hood was like,
That was a good cast.
Jesus Christ, what a great movie.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
no,
I mean,
all
the
the way
whole
around,
cast.
yeah.
The whole cast as an ensemble, yeah, I mean, was fucking amazing in that
Yeah.
movie. That's what made
I'm
it.
saying that would be hard to go up against.
Yeah.
But they barely lost to them.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's better than School Ties with
I
Matt
love that.
Damon.
I love that movie.
School Ties?
Yeah, that's a
about
great
the
movie. Brendan Fraser, the Jewish football player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but it was like in that time period. There's a lot of prep school boy movies.
Yeah.
Which were,
Well, and there's a bunch of people in that movie too. Obviously, you know.
Matt Damon.
Yeah, Matt Damon.
Isn't Ben Affleck? Maybe
don't
not.
know.
Probably not.
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Affleck. Don't ever watch the Tom Brady fucking roast.
I haven't yet.
I don't know why I watched it, and then
I like Andrew Schultz. Wasn't he on there?
yeah, Batfleck came on, and he was the worst fucking
I've
roaster.
heard. Somebody
Good
said
God.
something about that.
He was just talking shit on the fans the whole
Yeah.
time, and then it was like, this is rough, dude.
I might have to watch it now.
Just for that
Sounds
part.
sad,
Everybody else was cool, but it was a roast. Anyway,
Yeah.
so after we get a snack and everything, because here I am, I'm sitting waiting for Toy Soldiers to Rewind. I'm thinking about this movie. I'm thinking,
Right.
okay, I mean, it's a good movie. I'm glad I watched this one again.
Well, what
Yeah.
I was going to say earlier was I think the pacing was really good. They did give you some connection to the characters. I thought Will Wheaton's
Enough.
character was a little weird. Like he was a little I don't know, just kind of.
It was stiff.
Yeah.
It seemed like the editing kind of fucked that up too,
It could
they
been,
didn't.
could
Yeah,
have been.
they didn't really give him a lot of screen time, even though he was very important to the story.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't hate Will
No.
Wheaton as an actor by any means. I just thought he was a little off,
Yeah.
and not necessarily even could just be the direction that he was given for the character.
Right.
Too, you know what
right.
I mean?
He was kind of like, I'm just here for
Yeah.
a paycheck.
Well, I don't
kinda.
know. Maybe I don't know if they're friends or whatever.
Right,
You know,
right.
if-
But it seemed like everybody was they could all act together.
Absolutely.
And actually
They did a
have
great
those
job.
friendships.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is really cool.
absolutely.
And then especially too, I mean, Luke Gossett Jr. with Denholm Elliott was fucking good. Good choice. Luke Gossett Jr. I bet you could rest in peace. Could have probably acted with anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, he could. I mean, he's just a great actor.
Didn't he do a movie where he was a principal?
Yeah, it wasn't Stand By Me. That was
No,
Morgan
that was
Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. Yeah,
He did
Anyways,
another one. Yeah,
I think so.
Where he was like, I'm going to bring guns to school because of these gangs. Something like that. So, yeah.
Anyway.
This is another enjoyable movie. It was one that you could live with if you got it from the rental store.
Yeah. It was at least there was hijinks and there was action and people died and it was
Right.
rated R and
And it's good enough you might watch a couple more times before you take it back.
yeah.
So then, next on the list, we got Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
And we'll be right back with that after these messages. Smoke a cigarette?
Yes.
Danny DeVito, he was really 6 foot tall. We took half his femurs.
We took half his legs. We Bobby Hilled him.
I don't know why suddenly we were Latino with that.
Well, because that's what they do.
They just take half?
They only take half. You know what? Latinos are not greedy. You just give them enough to survive. They're gonna procreate. They're gonna go through everything perfectly
For sure.
for generations, and then they'll finally spread out when they get tired of your bullshit.
All right, should I lead us back in? Are we ready? Or
We're ready.
who is ready? Is it Branscombe, Richmond, the Big Indian?
Wasn't he in the Renegade?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
He's a familiar man.
He was the Chakotay of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, sure. Whatever.
Sure. That works. Okay.
All right. So, welcome back to Drop Culture Double Feature.
We've already watched Toy Soldiers.
Yeah, we did this at 1991
You just ordered
extravaganza.
your pizza just finally arrived. It's Friday night. The Bigfoot finally made it to your door. You're like, all right, now I got the fucking cool movie to watch, right?
Absolutely.
Step outside, you smoke a little cigarette, something else,
You could have left-handed cigarette if you wanted.
grab your Bigfoot, take it to the divan in the living room, push play, because guess what's playing? Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
One of the coolest movies because of Don Johnson. His character is the coolest, one of the coolest fucking characters that you could ever write. You know what I mean? I mean, it's totally scripted, totally written, dude. He just brought the reality to it, which is cool.
Yeah.
He did. It's like he didn't take that role for granted.
Yeah, I would say both him and Mickey Rourke were fucking dripping cool.
Yeah, and Mickey Rourke did it for money.
Yeah.
Right? But yet Don Johnson was like, yo, this is a fucking movie. Don't be a dumbass.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I guess.
Well, I know Mickey Rourke said that, Don Johnson was great to work with, and he not a fan of the director at all. I guess they said if it wasn't for, and to be fair, this was the guy that went on to direct Free Willy, I believe. Simon Windsor.
Yeah, okay.
But he said that if it wasn't for Don Johnson, like showing him how to move the camera and do things,
Yeah, showing him how to actual direct.
He goes, if it wasn't for that, we probably wouldn't even made it through, or something like that. Something to that effect.
Well, he directed Quigley Down Under.
And I think he also did Lonesome Dove. Is that right?
Yeah, Lonesome Dove, Quigley Down Under, and then Harley Davidson. Then he went to Free Willy, which Free Willy was the phenomenon that it is.
Yeah.
In Operation Dumbo Drop.
Yeah.
And then he ended it all with his last really big one, The Phantom,
Yeah.
which we all know what the fuck was that movie. Watched it the other day. Was still just amazed that it got made.
100%, man. I've never seen that movie all the way through, and I never will. Like, I've seen clips of it. I'm like,
yeah, World War I superhero.
I know I've turned it on to watch it.
Just to see Chrissy Swanson.
I make it through like the beginning, like credit things, title.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do something else or anything
I'm
else.
going to play solitaire.
You know what sounds like a good time? Going out and staring at the sun.
I think he did a, what was it? Quigley Down Under is one of the greatest movies, westerns of all times.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
I love that
for
movie
sure.
a lot. It's the right cast too.
Yeah.
That's what makes a movie, and that's what made this movie was the actual fucking cast. Because you have Big John Studd, right? Giancarlo Esposito, right?
Right.
Then you have who else? All of the little Tom Sizemore. Before Tom Sizemore was,
Before Tom Sizemore was Tom Sizemore, really.
pretty much.
Yeah, he was sizeless, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. He was a little
Well,
dude.
yeah, I
And then-
always thought Tom Sizemore was huge.
He was a big guy
Yeah.
afterwards, right? Like he didn't fuck up this table, I mean, he like literally was there, and the way that he acts on his shit. This was a character that he had to invent. They're like, "Hey, you're the bad guy," and he's like, "Okay, what's my motivation?" He's like, "I don't know." Sounds like the kind of director that they had.
Money. Power.
Yeah, it's like you just want to fucking I get it. But I mean, did a great job. Tia Carrere's in this movie
For a half a second.
Yeah,
Or two.
Yeah, this is before Wayne's World,
Yeah.
or right about the time.
Right about the time, right?
Right about the time. I also wanted to watch Wayne's World last night just because of that. I was like, Tia Carrere was badass in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a shit.
Stay on my tail.
Stay on my tail. Oh, stay on your tail. And then Kelly Hu,
Yeah.
the little bitty bit role that she plays whenever he stops the robbery. Vanessa Williams.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Big John Studd. Did you say that already?
Yeah, Big John Studd. Good God.
Giancarlo Esposito.
He did so many cool little bitty bit roles and shit, you know? And,
Jimmy's so great in this too.
and then you got Chelsea Field, which she was Virginia Slim, right?
Yeah.
But she she did quite a few things. I think she's more of a Lifetime actress.
Gotcha.
More than anything that I remember that she did. But everybody else was pretty well known, you know? I mean, she did perfect in this. She was Tila, of course. She was Tila in Masters of the Universe. She was on the last Boy Scout, which she was badass in that.
Oh, yeah.
She did a lot of really good roles up until that time, until she did Flipper. It looks like Jesus. But yeah, her role was really cool, which no matter what Harley did in that, she's like, oh, you could shit on this table and I just laugh at you. She's like, you're so cute. Right? Daniel Baldwin.
Yeah, the lesser Baldwin.
Yes. The biggest Baldwin, but yet the lesser known Baldwin. He's huge. The dude is a big guy. He was also in Trees Lounge. He did a good job in that one.
Nice.
God, who else here? We didn't mention Branscombe Richmond. They have him listed as Big Indian.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's fucked up. Because he was in so many things. The Scorpion King, Hard to Kill, They Live, fucking Mortal Kombat. Jeez.
He just wasn't big roles.
No. His biggest thing I think you'd remember him from would be Renegade. Because he was what's his nuts' sidekick.
Yeah.
He was
or
his
Lorenzo Lamas.
Yeah, Lorenzo Lamas is Tonto kind
of. So this movie made no money. It lost a lot of money. It cost $23 million to make this movie, and it made $7 million.
No shit.
Made less than a third of its budget.
This was a total niche movie, though.
No, and here's the thing: is that this movie's fun.
Yes,
and it's like both of the movies from this double feature from 1991, but this takes place in the far-flung future of 1996, where you can see a billboard for a tourist show.
I like how they're like
they just call it the show.
So this is Burbank, huh?
Turned it into an airport.
Yeah, now they got a Concorde flying. Oh, the future.
Yeah.
Oh, the Concorde's flying in. Everybody's still driving shitty Cadillacs from the fucking 70s. You know what? What? No, how is this the future? Why is it the future?
Because then now you can have this like super drug.
No.
There's no reason
No.
for it to be in the future.
There really is absolutely no reason that it has to be in the future.
Nope.
For one, they have Kevlar. That was already there. Two, they have motorcycles. Been there forever.
He rides bulls and shit.
Yes.
He's like a rodeo dude, or wannabe,
Right.
like.
They're just drifters.
Yeah.
They're just drifters that hang out and drink beer all day. You know what I mean? What do? They take on odd jobs? They criminals?
We'll get to, of course, more into this movie. But I do have a question for you. Was there a math issue for you, like when they were talking about Don Johnson's character? Because I like this movie. This is not a negative to that, but.
What do you mean? What do you mean math?
So he's talking about when 8 years ago when he broke all his body and all this stuff.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And then it made it sound like he was young and just getting into it. So he was 26 in that or something.
Yeah, 28. And Harley was like 25.
Dude, you're like at least 40.
Right.
Maybe 35. 35.
You're right though. With looking at how old they were, I was thinking about the same thing, thinking, man, how old really are they? Are they 35?
That math doesn't math.
38? Did he get on his first professional bull at 25? And he's 33? Maybe. But you have to have gone around the block to learn everything that he knew anyway.
Yeah.
Like he was
He did have, his dad told him before he left this shitty world.
Yeah, my old man told me before he left this shitty world.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, I digress.
Yeah.
But so basically
How old were they?
yeah, who knows?
Maybe the future people live longer. The far-flung 1996.
Yeah.
Which they rode through a new mall, an outdoor mall, and they're like, wow, look at the future.
Futury.
It didn't need it.
No, 100% not. But it's a fun movie, and oddly enough, for it being in the future, it's more of a Western.
Yes.
Than it is anything. And like to the point, like we're going to get a cool Butch Cassidy jump.
Yeah. We get that. We get the gambling type of a deal.
Yeah. You get the rising up against the establishment.
Yes.
And
the disclaimer at the very beginning saying that they do not endorse any products listed in the names of this. Yes.
Well, right. Because like the one character what's the lady's name?
She's Virginia Slim.
Right. And then you have Jack Daniels, who's Big John Studd.
Yeah.
And then of course Marlboro and
you have Tequila, the tequila dude, Jose.
Yeah.
Jose Cuervo. Who else?
Yeah, I forgot that.
Jimmy Giles, like Jimi Hendrix. I don't know where Lou comes from. I just don't know.
But you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I could see why they had to put that disclaimer in there.
Yeah.
I would want to get paid if I was making a movie.
Well, it's kind of like
maybe they did.
Like Cyborg. They were all named for musical instruments.
Right.
They're just named for shitty products and fucking brands.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you're a Marlboro Man.
Well, 91 was probably like the last of that Marlboro Man bullshit, right? Like that's
shit.
Probably mid-90s was kind of like when that died.
Yeah, whenever Marlboro Miles stopped becoming a thing.
When that guy died of cancer.
Which one?
It's the third one, I think.
Yeah, like the 12th. He's like, hey, ain't gonna kill me. I knew somebody that won a Marlboro Miles trip.
Oh.
They said it was fucking wicked.
Yeah, I bet.
Didn't smell like smoke, though. They said everywhere they went. I was like, wow. So you win this trip, and then they gave you, like, every room you went into had cigarettes. So, yes, you had your own little snuffer and shit like that. It was crazy.
Wow.
I was like, that is nuts. Never knew anybody like that, but that's pretty cool. But anyway, Marlboro Man.
Yeah.
So let's set the scene for this. In the future, Harley Davidson, Mickey Rourke, right? Gets he's getting his wind back, so he's going to take a ride down, I-40 because he's outside of Dallas. Apparently,
it starts out with him leaving a half-naked beautiful woman, and walking out the
in a
door.
sweaty room, you know, with just a fan blowing and Bon Jovi playing.
That's right.
So,
because I'm a cowboy
on a steel horse I ride. It's just a bitchin'.
Yeah,
it works.
It works perfectly with this too,
and they keep it going.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They like play the song, so it works. So,
and they didn't have us singing it, which was probably better.
Right, and it wasn't Emilio Estevez, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, his motorcycle was like badass motorcycle.
Yeah.
All the motorcycles in there were pretty cool, except for his Kawasaki.
Yeah.
This rice burner. But so you get him traveling down I-40, right? You know, going through like L.A., finally arriving over there, and he stops and he getting some gas, right? And of course, he stops a robbery because he's so badass. He walks in, he sees it.
He walks right into it. Yeah, he's like, okay.
You know, if I had money for every time somebody pointed a gun at me, and then he like kicks their ass, and then he
legitimately kicks their ass too. It was good.
Yeah, it was a decent one. Yeah, and like he's like,
and
then
wasn't John Wick.
But. No. Oh, and it was believable.
Yeah,
I mean, it was Mickey Rourke kind of kicking somebody's ass, and I mean, they kind of really put the stunts in it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Pump all you can hold."
He's
all
like,
this-
that's not good
Yeah,
business.
that's not good business. I was like, God damn, you smart ass, badass motherfucker, right? You could just walk out there, and she was as soon as he walked out the door, it's like sploosh. It's like somebody's water broke in that motherfucker, right?
And it was Kelly Hughes.
Right, right, in high heels. So he ends up running into, or he goes to find, I guess, the Marlboro Man. Don Johnson's in a bar shooting pool up against the big Indian.
The big Indian.
That's his character name.
Yeah.
So
And there's a lot of his brethren around him, the Native American.
yeah, they're like at a Native American bar,
Yeah.
which is unusual for Los Angeles, especially the Burbank area.
I would assume.
I wouldn't. I didn't.
I don't know.
It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he goes through his. My old man told me before he left this shitty world, the 5 rules to shooting pool. You know, and it's like know the table you're playing on. Always have a cigarette hanging out your mouth. Never take a bet you can't pay. And then there's something else, right?
Couple more.
Yeah, a couple more. And so
I
of
didn't write
course,
them down.
yeah, of course he beats him. And he's like, "Well, I ain't leaving here until I got $300 and your woman in my bed." And then, of course, Harley shows up because he sees him, from a room. So he kind of agitates it, and he fucks with him because they know each other, right? He's like, "I'd kick his ass." It's like, okay. So they actually do get into a bar fight, beats the shit out of the dude. He gets cut, right? But he's that badass. Don Johnson's the shit. He's like, "Aye." That don't hurt. Let's go get some Jim Beams.
Surface.
Surface. There's just a surface wound. And so they end up on the billboard, which I guess is their spot that they go hang out.
Yeah.
On
Smoke cigarettes. Well, no, not smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, on like Rodeo. No, what is?
I don't know.
Yeah, one of the famous streets over there, right? Right next to Die Hardest 4, or Die Hardest 5.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
billboard. And so they're all chilling up there, and he's like, "Oh, it's that time again, huh?" He's like, "Hey, man, you're the only family I got." So Harley grabbed the 44, the Desert Eagle. They go to their bar, right? And that's when he makes fun of the bike and shit.
Yeah, like shoots it.
Yeah, so he's
Because
like,
that's when we find out that
it's his
Mickey
birthday.
Rourke's character can't shoot a gun.
Yeah.
too.
yeah. He's like, yeah, I should put a bullet in it a long time ago. He's like, here you go. So he tries to shoot it and it fucking way off.
Yeah.
He's like, squeeze it, Harley. And he's like, here you go. I like how sincere Don Johnson. He's like, hey man, it's nice. Thank you. Yeah. And he fucking nail and then he shoots the bike, right? So he's done. Puts the gun in his saddlebags, right? Just like a fucking Western, you know? So they go in and we find out that this is the bar they grew up in.
Right.
So all their friends, and of course, Mickey Rourke was fucking with Vanessa Williams or something
Which
like
was,
that.
I don't think married at the time, but going out with Big John Studd's character, Jack Daniels.
Right, which he's in a back room. So they have the
In an
front
arm
room.
wrestling match.
Right, with one of the biggest dudes I've ever seen, both of them. And he's like, did he get bigger? He's like, he's going to kill you. You know that, right? Which is cool because they have Jose, which he's mute, but yet Don Johnson can understand what he's saying. He can read his sign, kind of as the translator, which is cool.
Yeah.
And so they go to the back, and you see Jimi Hendrix, Giancarlo Esposito,
Yes,
and
Jimmy.
Big John Studd. So they're running a little bitty a spread game or some shit like that. So they're going to make more money.
Yeah, so Big John Studd's supposed to lose, you find out later.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he sees fucking Mickey Rourke, and Mickey Rourke's like, hey, man, you remember last time we fought? I kicked your ass.
and he almost breaks that dude's arm, like finishing. He's like,
Yeah, because he sees he was like, Harley, because he drinks like half of a bottle of fucking Jack Daniels, too. He's like, I told you he's going to whoop your ass. He's like, yeah, you remember I kicked your ass last time. Yeah, but he had a broken arm. He's like, I'm the one that did it. And I'm the one that did it.
that was in 10th grade.
And he starts kicking his ass, too. And he picks him up over his shoulders, too, and like
I
fucking
know.
throws him like total professional wrestling, whoops his ass, and he looks over and he's like, huh. He's like, wow, I didn't think you'd get that far. And then as soon as he starts getting his ass whooped, he's like, Well, he's doing good up until there. I love all of his little bitty, you know, like
Interjections.
yeah, everything that the Marlboro Man says.
Yeah.
The whole time he's just is like always funny and cool. Then he kicks the shit out of him, throws him out the window.
Yeah.
Why would you park underneath that window?
Never.
Because that's the second car that's fucked up. That's the first one, and then
yeah.
there's a second one. But the first one, yeah.
And before he got in that room, though, we did get the iconic line.
Yeah. I'd rather be dead and cool than alive and uncool.
That's right.
Which is the shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that and it first comes from Mickey Rourke, you know, before they go back there. And then, yeah, he's like, it's only you. She only loved me, you know? So he's like, okay, you promise? He's like, I promise. So I don't know why he like.
They hug it out.
Yeah, he's like, hug it out, bitch. So then we find out that the old man's losing the bar.
Right.
Which was their institution. And the brightest idea comes to Harley Davidson. What is that idea?
That they're going to go rob the bank that's got the lien on the bar.
Give them their money back.
And give them their money back.
Because he signed a lease in 1960 for 30 years.
And now it's going to spike up to like $2-point-something million for him to have it.
Because they want the land so they
Right.
can build the skyscraper.
Right.
And he's like, nah, fuck it. Let's go steal it. We're crooks. Not
So
really, but we are.
So they do, sort of. They have a cool heist where, you know, like
They're robbing the stage at this point.
yeah, so that they, of course, use like construction things to make
And tunnels underneath L.A. to
right.
get through everything.
So they use construction to guide the bank, the armored car.
The armored car into
And then,
a
but
trap.
they're using the drainage tunnels underneath L.A. to follow,
Yeah.
like where that's at, so they can take all the money out and throw it out the back.
Yep.
And I do like the line where they've got them, like, they've got the guys on the ground. He's like,
You're professionals, huh?
he goes, don't we seem like professionals? He's like, no, a professional would have
Used my key.
used my keys. After they blew that door, and he's like, he likes to blow stuff up.
Yeah. I love that shit too. And he throws his gun at him. He's like, you don't throw a gun at people, Harley. And I like it when he jumps off the actual roof, right?
Of
He
the
gets
armored
down
car, yeah.
and his mask drops down, his bandana. He's like, shit.
And
That's what just made his character.
no, I
like
agree.
all of the little things. He's like, do we seem like professionals to you? And he's like, no, professionals would use my keys. Which it was like, yeah, why not? Right? They were both out.
And that's when we see the mod squad.
Whoever they are.
Yeah, and they come up with like automatic guns and
They park about a mile down.
yeah. Well, they had to have a cool walk-in,
Right.
since, you know, they're like apparently bulletproof because
And trained.
Marlboro's hitting them
Yeah.
and nothing's happening.
Because he's a great shot,
Yeah,
but Harley's
he's
like
a
a
dead
stupid ass shot.
Harley's terrible.
He's the worst.
worst.
Yeah. He just like point shit. He's like, you squeeze it, Harley. So they get away.
Yeah, they do get away
But
with the
Money?
supposed money.
yeah, it's in silver bags.
Yeah,
And they didn't look to check
I don't know, but they open it up, and what's in there?
at the airplane graveyard.
Yes, so that's where they travel to open it up.
Yeah, and because Big John Studd saves him.
Yes.
He's-
yeah,
yeah,
Jack
'cause at first
Daniels,
he's
he
like-
crashes the thing.
Yeah, he's like, I can't have anything to do with it. Lulu will like rip my balls off, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
right? And so he comes around the corner just like, pulls the gas tank, fucking blows it, right?
Yeah.
So he helps him escape. They get to the airplane graveyard, and guess what? Shit. Crystal Dream, man.
Yeah. So instead of money, it's drugs. The newest, hottest drug on the scene that makes you kind of hallucinate and
Go crazy.
go crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they call it the dream. So it's
Yeah.
something you put in your eye,
Yeah.
right? It's like liquid something. Not psychedelic, but it's like a mind fuck. So it's probably the same drug that's that in RoboCop 2.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's like gotta put more. Love that movie too. But so they get away with it. They get there and they're like, God damn it. Now we got these drugs, but they're good crooks. They're not going to sell drugs.
Right.
They're going to figure out what they're going to do with it, right?
Right.
So, you know, of course, Don Johnson's all pissed because the plan was fucking fucked to begin with. So he goes out and he finds Virginia Slim, you know. That was a pretty cool deal. Wheelie, and then he flips her up.
Yeah, we don't know who that is. He's like going by this cop and does a wheelie and flips the cop off. Turns out it's Virginia Slim, the love interest.
Yeah. She gets him for being armed and dangerous because of the python in his pants. She's like, well, let's see you go with this now. And then, you know, they wake up and she's like, I'm getting married. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, fuck. You know, because they do have that, they share that tender moment on the sign, you know, when he's tending to his wound.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, not the marrying type. He's like, amen. You know, I mean, he fucking looks at him and is like, amen. Yeah. Like he means this role, which is great. He really meant it. He means it. So he finds out, and then he's like, passes out. Harley shows up, breaks in, I guess.
Makes breakfast for him
Yeah.
and takes her to breakfast.
And she's a cop.
And then makes her pay.
Yeah. And it's like making Coca-Cola fucking eggs and toast and shit, right?
And leaving shit on an open flame. What was that?
And
business?
he's the messiest eater too. You know, he eating whatever the Danish.
Yeah, I know.
The
It was
fucking,
all over him.
It's like, dude, that's gross. You have no couth. And she's like, oh, you're so cute. So he asked her about what this crystal dream shit, and he's like, don't fuck with it. There's nothing you need to do, right? So they got to figure out how they're gonna get everything back. So they go to the World Trust Bank or whatever, the Grand World Trust, because the bank is running drugs.
Yeah,
I
don't remember what was they find out.
How was Harley supposed to know that they were running this drug through the bank? Right? They knew the bank because he wanted to rob from the bank that was actually going to rob from them and get the money, because eventually they wanted $2.5 million or something.
There's a point though where they know.
Yeah,
and I don't remember what that point is.
Yeah,
there's something that tips them off.
Yeah, whenever they're like, holy shit, they were running drugs in this deal. Well, let's go negotiate with them.
Yeah.
So they end up at the place. That's where we get to see Tia Carrere for the first time in her behind.
Stay on my tail.
Yeah. So they're in the office and he talks some shit. And he's like, you know what? They're not going to fall for it. And he's like, I'll bet you some money. He's like, how much? He's like, I'll bet you $1. He's like, okay. Because the cab fare, fuck me. Because that one woman came up to me and was like, sweet as honey, pure gold. He's like, okay. So of course, you know.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I need something to take my mind off of it. He's like, pure gold. I'm off at 10. So of course and he's like, meet us here. We'll do the arrangements and you come get your shit. We don't want it.
Right.
We made a mistake. And so of course they meet him at the airplane graveyard. And they're like, I'm curious what the dollar was for. Because he calls them dilettantes.
Yeah.
I'm like a douche. Like, they're dilettantes. Yeah, okay, Oxford. We don't give a shit what they are. Are they 2-bit cheap hoods? No, they're dilettantes. Is that the best way to say it? He probably had to look it up on his daily calendar. I was like, dilettantes. Ah, okay. There's a word a day for Tom Sizemore. So Tom Sizemore is the prick that he can be in acting.
Yeah, he's the big bank guy.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, we'll do what you want. So they get back to the club and they're like, man, I can't believe we fucking did it. That's so crazy, right? Then all of a sudden, guess who walks in? The Cloak Gang.
Yep.
With the wide hips. Well, in one scene, fucking old Baldwin looks like he's got fucking like 4 like childbearing hips.
He does, man. I was like, man, he's portly.
Yeah.
What's going on?
What's going on underneath that thing? Does he have like a fucking bat wing that comes out or something? What the fuck, right? So they show up, and of course he shoots the old man. Giancarlo Esposito flips out. Big John Studd's freaking out because Lulu's going to have his ass. Jose, is like trying to get away too. Everybody's like, what the fuck, right?
Right.
They're busted. Because they were talking shit through the window. He's like, oh, I don't think he liked that. He's like, I don't care what he fucking liked. And then he's like, oh shit, get down. So they hop the back fence, which they destroy another car.
Right.
Man, the people that park behind there, they're like, hey, don't park behind this club. Whatever you do, I don't care what you do, just don't park my car back there. They always seem to get fucked up. It's like, and so Big John Studd dies. Everybody basically gets killed at the bar.
Yeah.
But they're trying to save all their buddies, all their friends, all their
The owner of the place.
everything, except for Lulu. You know, she's not there.
No.
Thank God, right?
That's right.
She was the only one that lived and hates both of them.
I know, right?
It's like, I fucking hate you guys. You killed my whole family. So they get across, you know, they're running on the airport. They decide to hop a jet, right? And they get through the baggage claim while those dudes are still tracking them for some reason. They're after them. And Home Dude actually wipes out one of the baggage handlers. He's a fucking dick. So you know how committed they are
Right.
to getting their money back and everything. Which, of course, they have to fly. So I guess they flew to Vegas.
Yeah.
It was a Burbank to Vegas trip.
Yeah.
It was one of those red eyes or whatever they call them. And so they get there and they're like, okay, we're safe now. They can't find us here. They don't know we're here. But then guess what?
There was a tracker in that dollar.
And they didn't know that because Don Johnson and Mickey Rourke, they're getting into their fight. You know, he's like, your friends fucking died. This ain't over. You know, we can't fucking run from this. You know, I don't want to fucking die. Fuck you, Harley.
Right.
And he's like, why are we so high up? There's a convention, man. Why should have got a different hotel? That's what I would have said.
Sure.
Let's go somewhere else. Fuck it. We got enough money. They'll think we're here. So they get into the fight and he's like, man, I love those guys too. And he's like, whatever. So he goes downstairs to living on the high road, sleeping on the dance floor. You know, that it's a great fucking song. It works.
Sure.
But yeah, so he calls Virginia Slim and he's like, hey, I just want to talk to you. And she's like, are you okay? He sees him walking through the lobby. God damn it. How are they finding us, right? But little did we know that Harley saw the fucking chip open up, just like the Silver Shamrock.
Yeah.
It was kind of like
100%.
that. It was like, huh. And he's like, I found out how they were tracking us. So they end up on the fucking roof, of course.
And they're pinned down.
Butch Cassidy and Sundance.
Yep.
Butch and Sundance.
And they got to make a decision. And the decision is either stay there and get shot up by a bunch of guys with semi-automatic machine guns,
Jump into a pool.
or jump like 20 stories down into a pool.
Would you have done it?
Yeah, 100%.
I always was thinking, oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're.
I was always thinking your rate of descent. Rate of descent and angle of descent is
Well,
the only
if
thing that's
you
on my mind
notice,
when I think about that.
What you would have to do would be the most painful way to do it, so that you didn't hit the bottom. You would have to come in at like not flat because that would suck, but
Yeah.
close to.
Right.
You know.
Or whenever you're jumping off, you don't want to jump too hard and then the momentum carry you to the end of the fucking pool. And you don't want to jump too soft.
I fell in the shallow end.
Yeah, like Don Johnson.
They
like,
took half my legs. Maybe.
well, like Don Johnson, he kind of does like a little hop over.
Yeah.
You know, so because he thought about it too. He's like, I fucking hate you for this, Harley.
All right.
I love it. Just like, fuck you.
But they make it.
They both make it.
Yeah.
Make it down to the bottom. He's like, man, that was fun. We should do that again. He's like, fuck. And then they start shooting.
Yeah.
So they get away. They do their deal. They hop on a train.
Yeah.
They're gone. They're on a train headed back to LA.
I suppose.
I guess. Was it leaving? I don't know. No, it was going towards Denver because he was like, I had a
that's
layover
right.
in Denver.
That's right.
In his
Because
layover.
this is where they have their spat.
Oh,
again.
that was, yeah. Well,
Like where they separate.
yeah, they separated because he jumps off the train.
Yeah.
He's like, this ain't over. We got a whole bunch of money that we didn't earn. We got a bar full of dead friends. This ain't over. And he's like, yeah, it's over. We made it out. He's like, what?
We survived.
Pals. You know what the meaning of pals is? He's gonna Young Guns that shit. Come on, Chavez. I know what pal means. Watched that one not too long ago either.
Nice.
But so he shows back up at Virginia Slim's store after he steals the boyfriend's bike and everything like that, right? Which I like how he's flustered, whenever he's stealing it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to do it. And he's trying to do it quick, but Harley's just like, He's like, no, you need to cry. He's like, I know how to do it. You're going to take my wife. You're going to take my girl. I'm going to take his bike. He's like, you got to turn the gas on.
He doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
man.
he's just like
fuck.
And of course, you get the whole boots thing throughout the whole movie. And we find out why he's got his boots
Right.
before they go in for the final kill. Because they meet back up at the sign,
Yeah.
you know, and they're sitting there and, you know, they're kind of like getting ready. And he's like, what is his gun? It's a conversion. He's like, this is the kind of gun I learned on. He's like, nobody learns on a gun like that. He's like, I did. And he's like, well, that explains a lot. Why you're such a bad shot, right? He's like, okay, it's too much gun for you, Harley. I like how there's the another running joke throughout the whole deal.
Yeah, well, yeah, they don't let up on it.
No,
Comes
no.
into play.
Yeah, kind of working together. Yeah. So of course, they know how they're being tracked, and he's like, now guess what? And he puts it in his hand, and he crunches it, and then they, you know, of course they're flying around.
Right.
They're like, meet us here. So they go out there into the day, and he's, God, they're all armed. They have their body armor, but there's only 3 of them
Right.
this time. So, because did they kill one of them? No, it was only the 3 that showed up.
Yeah.
So, so of course, you know, the helicopter, we get a little bit of foreshadowing there too. Guys, like, that was sounds like the last heading they said when we headed out to Da Nang. I hated that asshole. He's like, shut the fuck up and fly. It's like, oh, okay. So I pissed that dude off. So
Yeah,
foreshadow for the future.
For
That's
sure.
a helicopter dude, right?
Pilot, yeah.
Yeah. Vietnam vet.
Yes.
Forever. Never forget. And is that the same one?
No, I don't
Same
think
war?
so.
Oh, okay. So they start their battle, right? And so Harley shoots his first 6 rounds, and he's like, you know, every time you shoot that gun, it costs you about $2. He's like, well, how am I doing? He's like, well, you spent $12 and you ain't hit shit. Because he makes fun of me at the very beginning too. He's like, if you're trying to hit shit, you wouldn't even catch a whiff. He's got a lot of those really good
Little one-liners.
Yeah, you wouldn't even catch a whiff. So he's like, oh, and what is his other line? He's like, well, how they doing? He's like, well, they're spending a shitload of money, something like that. And then they bound off. Of course, Marlboro Man, he gets 2 of them.
Yeah.
And they shoot him in the head, but it takes like 6 shots to kill him in the head. So what the fuck?
Well,
What are
Kevlar
these things?
heads.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I think 1 shot in the head should have done it.
You think?
Yeah. But no, they shoot Stephen Baldwin like 6 times.
Daniel Baldwin.
Oh, whatever, Baldwin. We're the Baldwins, dude.
Stephen Baldwin.
Stephen-
Biodome.
Kenneth Baldwin
And Usual Suspects.
and Tobias Baldwin. No, but so they're in the middle of this fight. They finally get down to the last deal. Harley's got him dead to rights, back turned and shit, right? Because Don Johnson and him get into a kind of a fist fight. But then he grabs him because he shoots him in the arm first.
Right.
So of course he comes over there and he's like, "You fucking dilettantes, dork."
Do not think you know what that word means.
Yeah. Where did you learn that? Wrong context. So of course he's got him nailed with that big ass gun, which he's already talked shit about.
Right.
And then he looks at it, he's like, "Oh shit, I'm dead." He just gave it up. He's just like, "Fuck, I'm fucked. I'm dead." And he's like, "Just shoot him. Just squeeze it. Squeeze it. Squeeze the trigger, Harley." And he's like, "You can't do that." He's like, shoots him in the fucking arm.
Yep.
He's like, "That hurt, Harley. That fucking hurt." And he's just like, "That fucking fuck you." He's like, "Squeeze it." So he tries to get him to do it one more time. He just, "Don't think, just fucking squeeze." And he finally does it. Hits him in the hand.
Yeah.
He blows the gun up,
Yeah.
of course, and because it's Marlboro's gun anyway.
Right.
So he grabs it and they bam, 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 bam. Yes, they win. You fucking shot me. You shot me, you mother.
Well, he tries the boot thing kind of went throughout the whole thing too, because he falls out the window and then
Well, yeah, because like right before, because this is like right before they go with the helicopter pilot.
Oh, okay.
So the helicopter
okay.
dude's taking
I'm
him.
ahead of this.
Yeah,
I see.
and because right when they were sitting on the deal, the sign, he's
Yeah.
like, "So what's with those fucking boots?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, my old man gave them to me the first day I rode in professional rodeo. I fell down, broke my arm in 3 places." And he's like, "Well, you could have told me that." And he's like, well, "I kind of thought that was between me and him." You know, fucking so cool, right? It's like the mystery of fucking the Marlboro Man is like fucking rad,
Right.
dude. I mean, so totally cool. I mean, maybe this role is the reason why every time I see Don Johnson, I'm like, that dude's cool as fuck, right? Like total, like, man, what a cool dude. Like cooler than Jeff Bridges or some shit. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Like Jeff Bridges would be cool, but like Don Johnson would be like, damn, dude, fucking, I'm at the real deal today. But so they have to go take on Tom Sizemore.
Yes.
So they show up.
This is
Tom
very
Sizemore is like mimicking, Japanese or whatnot. Hasada Moirakan. Whatever he says, and it sounds so real.
Yeah.
But is it?
No, probably not.
Shogato Togokan. You're like, wow. That sounded really professional.
Good job, Tom.
Yeah, way to go. And he sees them arrive, right? So he's like, they're here. So he takes them downstairs and everything. They show up and he's like, okay, here's your money back. We made a mistake. Wasn't ours to take.
Right.
Just want you to flip that lease. That's all. The only thing we ask. And he's like, nope. He's like, all right, shoot him. Fucking, of course, Marlboro Man can't shoot him because he isn't shooting at him.
Yeah.
He's an unarmed guy. And so he throws a gun at him. They get into their fight and everything.
Mickey Rourke says, "You're not supposed to throw them at it."
Don't throw your gun. Yeah. You're supposed to shoot guns, not throw them.
Marlboro.
Yeah. So, of course, the boot rips and he's like, huh? And just, of course, he pulls a OCP death.
Yeah.
He falls to his death.
That's right.
And that was, when the helicopter dude comes down and he's like, hey, and he shoots the fucking henchman because the henchmen finally get up there, right?
Right.
The toughs.
Yeah.
The toughs finally get up to the top and he's like, haha, now I win. And then fucking Airwolf pulls out.
Yeah, right.
Fucking chain guns the shit, right? And he's like, wow, you killed the 2 dudes that needed to be killed. Thanks.
Yeah. How'd you do that?
Yeah, that was great.
You're really good at this.
Yay. And he's like, well, how much did you pay him? He's like, shit, man, we didn't pay him anything. He did that for free. That was your money. and of course, he saves the day. He finally rescues him. The next scene we see, bam, Marlboro's getting on a bull. He's about to.
That's right.
He's got the brand new boots on.
Because we find out the boots were given to him by his dad for when he was going to do his first professional bull riding and broke all the bones in his body or something.
Yeah. And whenever Harley was like, you should do it again, he's like, huh? Because whenever they were in Vegas, he's like, so
in
real.
Vegas at the hotel.
Yeah, whenever he's walking on the strip, he's like, so you mean to tell me a real hardcore shit-kicking cowboy comes from a place like this? And he's like, shut up, Harley. I hate this place.
He says, he actually says, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
More than you think or
Yeah.
something like that. Some
of the best cowboys.
Some of the best, yeah.
Some of the best cowboys in the world, or could have been the best. So he's talking about himself.
Right.
And then, of course, you see his new red boots, right? And he's like, so you're leaving, huh? And he's like, how did you know? He's, man, come on. You leave every once in a while. Because he had been gone for like 2 years before that, right?
Right.
Living outside of Dallas or some shit. Just working on motorcycles.
In love.
Yeah, and thinking.
Love with the girl that left him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's like, well, what were you doing? He was like, thinking. He's like, whoa. What were you doing that for? Like a couple of those funny.
Stop thinking, Harley.
Yeah, stop thinking. Just do it. Because it took him forever for that shit to come back. But no, so of course, he's like, all right. Then we find out his name, Robert Lee something.
Yeah, they call him a Robert a few times throughout the movie.
Yeah, it's like Robert.
Virginia Slim calls him Robert.
Yeah, Robert, what is it? Robert Lee Edison.
Yeah.
Making his rodeo debut. So is he 28? Or is he 38? 38, I would peg it. I'd look at it and I'd be like, yeah, they're in their 30s, 35 to 38. But no. They were in their 40s probably at this point.
I have no idea.
Nah, no.
But yeah, and then Mickey Rourke's character, he's the cool guy. He pulls out and meets some young little hitchhiker.
Right. Her name is the same name as the girl that left him.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same woman in the photograph too. Like that's one of the little trivia things.
Wow.
So she's like, okay. And then she just like fucking hangs off on the most uncomfortable part of the bike.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have a bitch seat, I guess. So she's just riding on a fender.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, let's go. Let's go on an adventure. I always kind of regretted them not doing something else.
Yeah.
Maybe not Marlboro Man 2 or something, but Mickey Rourke and Don Johnson, I swear to God, they had a really cool chemistry.
They did have a cool chemistry.
And it was at just where the movie came out and where it hit, I think was at the right time to make it so cool.
Well, I don't think it helped like the box office because both Don Johnson and Mickey Rourke talked a little smack about it before it ever even came out. And I think they did not get along with that director at all.
No.
You know?
Yeah, I bet you it was a paycheck at that point for him. Don Johnson being a professional.
Well, Don Johnson was in that stage where he was really just trying to break into motion pictures. He had done a couple, but nothing that was big. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Mickey Rourke was kind of there too, but not as much as Don Johnson. He was coming from TV fame.
And this is before Mickey Rourke decided to go be a boxer.
Yeah,
this was
100%.
the movie before. He was just like, fuck it, I'm going to go be a boxer. Then he comes back and he pulls that wrestling movie and you're like, holy shit.
Did this come out before Bullet?
Bullet?
Yeah. With Tupac Shakur
Oh, shit.
and Mickey Rourke?
Wow. Dang, I don't remember.
Doesn't matter. But,
Don Johnson, when he pops up now, that's the thing. Like, the first kind of like, almost like a comeback kind of a movie for him was Django.
yeah.
Right? It was so cool when he popped up, and he was such an asshole character. He's like, no. I mean, it's like fucking whoa. I mean, his character, that whatever it was in that movie, you're just like, holy shit, it's fucking Don Johnson,
Right.
right? And the same thing with
Watchmen when he was in
Watchmen. I mean, the first episode, and that was it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
he was in 2, wasn't he?
Yeah. The first episode was like mainly all pretty much him, but it was just like, holy shit, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. He's a cool dude for sure. He seems like a cool dude anyways.
Yeah. Mickey Rourke too, popping up in very few things. But when he does, you're always like, holy shit. It's Mickey Rourke. Same thing. And just having those two characters and then seeing like Giancarlo Esposito, he was always going to do great things. And seems like it was a paycheck movie except for Big John Studd.
Well, I think that you had like a cast where you were like, this could be something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was a good ensemble
Yeah.
of everybody that was part of it.
And I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's not a thinking man's movie. You know what I mean?
You don't need to.
It's just a fun caper.
Yeah. You don't
In
you
the
don't
far
have,
flung future of 1996.
it doesn't there's
For a
not a
movie
lot
that came out in 1991.
yeah. There's not a lot of substance, but yeah, everything about it's cool.
Yeah. 100%.
You're like, man, these are like modern cowboys,
For sure.
Ramblers. Ramblers. Let's go.
Let's get rambling.
Yeah, let's get rambling. And it was a pretty cool movie, and I've always loved it.
Agreed.
That's why it would, I don't know, a movie like this, I wish that they would have continued it, or at least revisit it, but it doesn't need it.
No.
It's like a Big Trouble Little China. Don't do it again. Don't need it.
They're going to, but they
Yes.
shouldn't.
You're right. Or Escape from New York.
You should definitely remake The Gate.
Shit.
Couldn't probably make it any worse.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure you could.
I don't know. What if he was a dad in it?
Stephen Dorff?
Yeah, it was the dad.
Nice.
That would rule. No, I was thinking about that idea that I had,
Yeah.
the moon being like the fucking like a prison / industrial center / recycling place / everything.
Mhm.
That's where we would put everything, geosynchronous orbit with other moons
Right.
to like make our tides and shit like that perfect. The poles, like I mean, like straight up and down.
Yeah.
They can manipulate that in about 1,000 years. It's gonna
Absolutely.
happen.
Sure.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. And then I was watching like Escape from LA, which by all accounts, Escape from LA was such a fucking fun movie, like this movie, right?
Sure.
Loved the movie. It was great to see Snake Plissken back. He was a character that those people loved. That was a great revisit, even though everybody hated it. The graphics, they are what they are.
Sure.
This was the Resident Evil kind of era.
Yeah, sure.
It was way before, but it was really
But
cool.
that genre kind of a thing.
And they
yeah.
loved those characters so much that they came back willingly.
Right.
Like they wanted to do it. Like Kurt Russell wanted to do it, and that was it.
Beckinsale.
Oh no.
No, that's the underworld.
Yeah, that was the underwear ones.
Underwear.
Yeah, the werewolves under
yeah.
there. Underwear? Oh! The shitty dad jokes. No, but it was a great movie. And like something like this kind of ranks up there where you can always pick it up and be like, that's what I want to watch.
It's definitely popcorn movie. Like I love it. Don't get me wrong, but
You can watch it once a year and still be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could watch it once every couple of months and still be like, all right, that's still cool.
Yeah.
But it's always there.
For sure. For sure.
It's like a Tremors,
Yeah.
It's like something like that. Great fucking movie, one-offs. They don't need anything else. Leave it as is,
Yeah, no, I agree.
Both these movies are it. Toy Soldiers and this. The last two movies that were good that you could rent. Like everything was out, but there was 1 million copies of fucking Sleeping Beauty or some shit, the latest Disney movie, and like fucking 2 copies of like John Woo films, Like, I already watched those like 1 million times. Oh, Harley Davidson, cool.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, Toy Soldier, I haven't seen that in a long time. Fuck, there's nothing else. All right, yoink.
And both very enjoyable movies, I
Yes.
felt. Yeah.
You can watch
I
them
would
back
give
to
them
back.
7s.
Yeah.
I know I watched the Siskel and Ebert of this.
What do they say?
Siskel loved this movie. And Ebert not so much. And they actually like argued about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn, what was his? I could see where it's an enjoyable movie. That's
Yeah,
what
but
it
that's
is.
what he said too. He's like, I
Yeah.
had driven all these hours. I went and sat down. I watched it, and it was great. I had a great time.
Yeah, it doesn't need any more than what it had.
Right.
You don't need extra time with the characters. You just jump into it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like any kind of Western. I mean, you put that in another Western kind of setting, perfect.
Yep.
He could have been riding up on a horse.
That's
but he
right.
was.
On
It's
a steel horse, he
Ah!
rode. Oh.
Yes. So those movies rule.
Yeah.
They really do. And watching them back to back like that, I was like, damn, it really takes me back to the video store.
Absolutely.
It was cool. So yeah,
So
I
that's
give those
that.
movies 7s, 8s. And Don Johnson's character, I give it like a 500. It's
There
like
you
one of the
go.
coolest characters ever.
Brock loves you 3000.
Yes, I love you 3000. Oh my God, my heart just broke. No, Tony Stark is coming back.
All right. Well, I think that wraps that up, and look forward to maybe some more double features down the road.
Yeah.
And where could they tell us what they'd like us to talk about, Brock?
Drop
or interact
culture.
and tell us how dumb we are. That's fine too. We don't
Pretty
mind.
much, yeah. Dropculture.com is one place.
That is a place.
And all the requests that we get that are like, hey, I was looking through your website and I noticed 14 discrepancies. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what? It's not going to work. I'm not going to do it. It doesn't matter.
It's
you know what?
basically the same thing as your car warranty.
Yeah, sign up for whatever newsletter and thanks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I appreciate it. But go to dropculture.com if you want to get the skinny on the skin. Right?
Oh, if you want to catch the penny on the runny kind?
Oh, shit. You better sign your pity on the running count because that's what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the social media way because we're on every one of them except for that TikTok. Nope. But everything else, we're
Yeah,
cool.
not that we're like
Against it.
We don't care about your TikToks, but we
the
just don't
effort.
care about the TikToks.
It's the effort for something that I don't want to waste my time on.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same.
No more doom scrolling.
I don't think we're on Threads either.
No, I don't think so, right?
I mean, we could be, but
what is
I don't-
Threads?
That's the Facebook, Twitter.
That's what I think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, deep guttural, like, no. All right, or dropculturepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, use this little line. Smoke signals.
Smoke Signals,
Yeah.
Menards, aisle 4. We got the 2-pack hooks now. They are on the premium wall. They are actually moving closer to the registers like we always wanted.
That's right.
So
That's the dream right there. Once you're at the convenience style.
Right. I mean, it's kind of right there by it's like seasonal items, but they never really move. Next to
Right.
the gift cards is
Yeah.
where we want to be for this one, especially for Menards gift cards, because we want to be synonymous with that.
Yeah.
And there's some hacky sacks that we're releasing, a couple of fly traps. Then there's going to be the new thing is we're going to have keychains, drop
Yeah,
culture
yeah.
keychains, all Menards across the Southwest region. And well, thank you very much for my taint.
Proud sponsor of Mataint.
Yeah. We are.
Peace.
The Menards thing seemed real.
I know, right? So I just shut up and let you do it.
It sounded like it was a real thing.